My name is Megan Powell. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Archbold, and we have a great program for you guys tonight. I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Faircloth. Here's a little bit about her. June Faircloth is the president and owner of Epic Design, a complete design center located in Bainbridge, Georgia. She is mother to Melissa Faircloth Elmore and Dylan Reed Faircloth and has been a widow since 1992. After the 2010 death of her son, a self-designated organ donor who saved the lives of 6 other people, June became dedicated to the education of others about the need for organ and tissue donation. June is a certified transplant advocacy group volunteer for LifeQuest of Florida and LifeLink of Georgia. She is the founder and group leader for the Compassionate Friends of Southwest Georgia, a national grief support organization for families who have lost a child. In 2013, June was named Decatur County's Woman of the Year. In 2014, she was listed among Decatur County's Women to Watch. June enjoys traveling and telling her family's story to audiences across the region. So, welcome, June.
Good evening. Can y'all hear me? I want to thank everyone that's here tonight. I really appreciate being able to come back to Archbold. The health talk tonight, of course, our topic is about organ donation. But my story is not just about loss, but more so about life renewed. Without the help of Robin Godwin, the Critical Care Director of Nursing, Kelsey Gear in Marketing, in association with LifeLink of Georgia's Hospital Liaison, Danny Johnson, I could not have returned tonight to be able to pay back a debt that I feel like I owe to this hospital and this community. Dylan Reed Faircloth I, as he was self-proclaimed, always dreamed of being a superhero. From toddler years, he learned to don a disguise of either a Batman, a ninja, or a Power Ranger. He wanted to be larger than life itself. Intellectually, he was tested gifted at kindergarten level and was an active member on the Quiz Bowl teams of every school he attended. In 2010, his high school team was the first Bainbridge Quiz Bowl team to make it to the Nationals in Chicago. Based on his ACT scores in 7th grade, Dylan was recognized as a state and national level Duke Tip Scholar. This program by Duke University is a 3-week summer studies program where gifted students take college level classes, and if they pass, they will receive full college credits. Dylan repeatedly chose psychology related classes. He attended on full scholarships from 7th grade through high school. Next to Dylan's salvation, Duke Tip was his most life-changing experience. A scholar athlete, he was a team captain throughout high school and a strong youth leader at school, his church, on mission trips, and to all who crossed his path in life. He was a writer of poetry, songs, and adventurous lore, which was always focused on a heroine. He was 2 weeks away from starting college and had been accepted into a research program seeking to find a cure for schizophrenia. On my birthday, July the 9th, 2010, 2,300 days ago, Dylan was fatally injured in a single-car accident en route home from church camp. It was his first year there as a counselor. He was life-flighted here to Archbold Medical Center, where he was diagnosed with no brain activity. My brilliant child was determined brain dead. Dylan was a self-designated donor and had recently playfully flashed his driver's license with the donor heart on it to his youth group, announcing that Dylan Reed Faircloth would now live forever, and truly he shall. Dylan Reed Faircloth I, the greatest man that ever was manly, another self-proclamation, became the hero that he portrayed in his writings and his dreams. Former All-American Pro Football player, Georgia Tech's now retired Stan Gann from Warner Robins became a member of my family. We share Dylan's heart and his story for donation for community education. We are convinced that God allowed Dylan to choose Stan. Dylan's one usable lung went to an accountant in Florida that was suffering from cystic fibrosis and cherished every single day with his wife and his young son. He was able to gain 4 more years of life with his family before finally losing his battle. Dylan's liver saved a mechanic in Georgia who is back at work and enjoying his favorite pastime of fishing. Dylan's kidneys freed 2 young moms from many painful years of dialysis and now spend time enjoying life with their children. And incidentally, I received a letter from one of them today before I left to come over here. It's very special. A young boy is now seeing clearly for the first time in his life. He lives in a small village in Dubai. Leave it to Dylan to go halfway around the world to prove a point. While nothing can ever take away the pain of losing my child, the knowledge that Dylan helped save and enhance the lives of others helps me to cope and enables me to move forward in his honor. Dylan's dad had died 17 years earlier in a car crash, and they had similar traumatic injuries. At his family's request, his organs were not donated. Not overriding that decision haunts me even today. It became a goal to raise my children with the information to make an educated decision about organ donation. I am certain that Dylan has great satisfaction in knowing that his final act of love has given back what death took away, life. I would like to share a song, but out of respect to your ears tonight, I will not sing it, but I will recite the lyrics. It's titled Living Sacrifice. Lord, light a fire in my heart, let it shine through my eyes. May the whole world look at me and see one who's saved by Christ. Let me sing loud and unashamed of your love and grace. And the chorus says, let your mercy flow through me. Let your light shine through my eyes. May I be a living sacrifice. Let your mercy flow through me. Let your light shine through my eyes. May I be a living sacrifice. Lord, let this fire spread unchecked so that all will glorify your name. Let this tired world be touched by your healing flame. And I will sing of your light through the darkest days. Let your mercy flow through me. Let your light shine through my eyes. May I be a living sacrifice. And through the storms that we face each day, let us bend our knees to pray and never forget the light that you gave us. Let your mercy flow through me. Let your light shine through my eyes. May I be a living sacrifice. Written by Dylan Reed Fairclough I. And I don't know when he wrote that. I just found it after his death. Death does not have to be the final comment of our lives. Instead of one stone marker, there can be living memorials, real people and real families whose lives have been put back together by the gift of life. It truly takes a village to raise a child, and I encourage you, no matter what your story, to get involved and give back. Be a better parent, a grandparent, and citizen. Be an example of the faith that you profess to have. You can change the world. I would personally like to take a minute to thank Archbold Hospital, the physicians, and the staff for the respect and kindness shown to my family, for the love and the caring that the critical care nursing staff gave to my precious Dylan. I will never forget Amy Brogan, Son Owens, and Megan Walken, just among the few that were dedicated to their patients. And let me say that Megan Walker has continued to be our first registered runner every year for the Epic 5K Challenge. It just means so much to me. And it is rare that these wonderful people get to see the lives of their patients come full circle. So tonight, I'm here with my special guest, Dylan's heart recipient, Stan Gann, and his beautiful wife, Sissy, who have traveled from Warner Robins to Thomasville to honor my Dylan's memory and to help me give back to all of you. And I appreciate everyone who is traveling this journey with me. I would like for Stan to come forward and let you guys meet him. Like I said, we share Dylan's heart. I wanted him to be able to have a few words. Please, Sissy, you come too.
This is my secretary for 50 years. She remembers more about it than I do. But what I want to say about Jim is she really saved us. Because it's quite an emotional roller coaster to go through this episode in our lives. And you don't realize it until it actually happens. Before, we didn't think about the other side. But after it happened and we were through with what they were going to do to us, we realized that there was another side. So this is like a sword, a two-edged sword. It was really very difficult for us until we met her. During this program, we asked about the donor and the family, and nobody seems to advocate that. You had to write letters, and you had to talk to somebody else, and they had to talk to somebody else, and it just didn't seem like you could get a connection. But somehow, this lady, as you know what kind of lady she is, she's a fine Christian woman with a fine Christian family. And she doesn't slow down. If she gets something on her mind, she's going to get it done. Okay, so after we got home from the hospital, we settled in and wondered if we were ever going to meet this family. And we waited and waited. And they said probably it'd take 6 weeks to even get something started to locate them. But in a day and a half, we got a telephone call. And one of the scariest telephone calls I've ever had. And it was her. And I'll let my wife tell you how that happened. Because it's kind of complicated, and I can't get the personnel straight now, but she can. And she went through probably more than what I went through.
Not really.
But we love her, and she's made it, if she can, easy for us.
I think it's quite an interesting story about how this transpired because, like Emory doesn't believe in letting you know who the donors are. We were at St. Joseph. And St. Joseph does believe in it, likely they believe in it, but we waited, after a week we wrote June. Well, we didn't know it was June, we just wrote the donor. But anyway, this is how this transpired. Stanley's a football coach. He was a football coach at Morris High School for 17 years, and then he was a football coach, the head coach at Northside High School, which is in y'all's region. They're in your region. And one of the guys he coached, George Collins, he played pro ball. And his wife is a friend of June's family. And so Tina calls us up. We've been on about a week. Tina called and said, Miss Sissy, she said, I just don't know what I should tell you or not. I don't know what to tell you or not, but I'm going to tell you. My cousin, I lost a friend, and I called her name is June Faircloth. I called her and I said, I understand you've lost Dylan, and I would, tell me about it. And of course, June told me about it. And the good part was that June said that Dylan was a donor, and so Tina says to June, well, tell me about that. And she said, well, I know that 2 kidneys, each kidney went to a single parent, and I know that the heart went to a 70-year-old football coach. And Tina says, I know who that is. Well, we go back to St. Joseph, we go a lot after he had his heart transplant every week. And they just blew him away. They said, no, you're not supposed to know. Don't tell anybody. You're not supposed to know. We said, well, Miss June is coming to see us. So, in about 2 weeks, she showed up with albums on her brilliant son and the track coach, his track coach. And they stayed about an hour at our house. We had a really great visit. We worried that because Stanley was 70 when he got this heart, that maybe Dylan would not have wanted, he might wanted a younger person to get it, but June assured us that no, Dylan was an athlete and he would be thrilled to death that a football coach got his heart. So it was an easy talk, and ever since that July, we've been good friends. We've been in contact all the time with each other, and it's just something that God arranged to happen for us to meet June and for Dylan to get his driver's license and get marked that little check mark on there that says heart donor. Yeah. So anyway, that's how it transpired.
And the best part about it is, and how she did this, after 30 minutes, we didn't know her from anybody, or, had no idea what was supposed to happen or what was going to happen. But when we sat down and after 30 minutes of talking with her, we felt like we were part of her family. That we were part of them, and I'm part of yours, yeah. And I think about him all the time. He was quite a personality. You saw that. And in everything I do, I kind of think about what he would do. Of course, I didn't try to do that. I didn't try to do it. But I would think about it and wish I could. But you saw what kind of person he was. And I'm sorry I didn't ever meet him, but I'm part of him.
Wait just a minute, Stan. If anybody has any questions for Stan or Sissy, we'd be happy to answer them. Anybody?
What was your diagnosis that made you have to have a heart transplant?
Well, I got a history of my whole family. I was,
In September of 91, he had his first heart.
it was major. And from then on, you know how it goes, I went down the road of heart failure. I went through the whole process. We had all the machines. Finally, we got down to zero, or there was nothing else to do. So I got an old friend of mine, played football with him in college. And he had a doctor that did transplant, heart transplant. He mentioned the fact. He says, don't have this kind of transplant. I didn't think of that. And I went to my cardiologist who was at this home, Lloyd Jones, you probably heard of him. He had to stand on a stool to do the catheterizations. Really? And I told her, I said, Dr. Jones, what about a transplant? She said, what? I said, what about a heart transplant? You hold on a minute. Oh, you can't hear?
Y'all didn't miss anything much. Her eyes would light up. It put yours out. It was somehow she was connected with that real closely, and she got me in the program. But it took off from there. I didn't have time to think. But we did go to Emory, and they turned us down because of age. And I said, age, well, okay. So we talked to some other people and said, well, let's try St. Joseph. And we went out there, and they did theirs case by case. So I was 70 years old, but I passed every test that the hospital can give you. They're that concerned about the recipient. Even the mental test I passed. Not real high, but. And the psychiatrist thought I was crazy, didn't she? And of course we had to go to a nutrition. You had every taste you can think of. And she kept telling me not to go to the varsity to eat hot dogs and something. But anyway, you got to be in perfect condition except for what you got to have it done, which is nice to hear. But it was the regular thing. And then when we got to zero, we were on that machine and put the medicine in there to keep it going. And we were trying to make a decision. There was a machine with lines all over the place, and And if I got this other thing they were talking about, you had to charge the battery every 8 hours. And I said, Sissy, I'm not gonna do that. I'll just go on. Of course, I prayed about it, and I was on a win-win situation. If I'm going to heaven. What's wrong with that? And then if all this works out, here I am. And I'm so thankful and proud that we could do things like that. And believe me, there's nothing better than a good nurse. Because I've seen a lot of them, and they're the ones that got me through, I think.
And tell them how you take care of that one. Go to the gym 6 days a week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they said they told me to exercise. I said, well, how much? She said, well, every day. I told them what I did, go to the gym. And they said, yeah, just keep it up. Just don't overdo it. And what I do is play golf. I go to the gym. Then I work in the yard when I get back. So I got a great heart. I'm telling you.
How long were you on?
Well, that's a good question there. Finally, when I finally reached that on the long list, and then when I got on the machine, they put me on the short list. And when I got on the short list,
It was only a few days when you went from critical to critical with the one
and nomination, it was like a week.
and because of his size, they figured a lot of hearts would fit him. And I'm trying to think, 4th of July weekend, they said it could happen that weekend, but it didn't, but a week later, it did happen. So.
Man, there's no time. And the phone calls I was telling you about, of course, the one from June, that scared the daylights out of you. But the other one was when they called us, 11 o'clock on Saturday night. We were just not expecting anything. We did this without any anticipation at all. And we were sitting there and the telephone rang, and Sissy answered it, and she looked at me and she said, it's them. and when I picked my jaw up off the floor, we got our little things together, and we headed towards Atlanta. And they told us heads up, and then we had to wait an hour, and then it all happened. And on the way to Atlanta, we were going, of course, we had to go past the varsity, and Sissy says, you want to just stop here for one last, hot dog or something? I said, no, let's go. So that's what happened, and God bless us all, and we're thankful. We're so very thankful.
Now, anybody have any more questions?
Stanley had always taken care of himself as a football coach. You see, he's not one of the, heavy-set football coaches like you see. And when he had that first heart attack, after he'd been running around the block of the school, when he had that first heart attack in 1991, every coach in the county went to the doctor to get checked. Because this guy just has bad genes. Daddy died at 56, brother died at 62. All heart attacks. And back then, you didn't know what to do. You just looked after yourself best you can. He did. And so that's why St. Joseph's took a chance on him, because they knew he would look after a heart. It's not like he didn't overeat, he didn't do it, he just exercised. He just has bad genes. That's all it was. So they said, Coach, we're going to give you a new heart. And that's what they call him at St. Joseph's. One coach. Everybody knows him as the coach. So, anyway, thank you.
Okay, I would like to do just a little bit, because I'm supposed to be here for the education end of it as well. But I would like to talk a little bit about the organ donation. I always like to start off with a question. Is there anybody here that can tell me when the first transplant took place?
Heart transplant?
Been around, just transplant period. Been around a long time. Genesis 2, chapter 21. So the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. Then God took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh at that place. And then the Lord God fashioned it into a woman, this rib that he had taken from Adam, and brought her to him. And the man said, now this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She will be called woman because she was taken out of man. Organ donation, with the primary exceptions of the living kidney donation, occurs after someone has died from an injury that results in brain death. Such an injury might be from a car accident or other traumatic event occurring when a stroke or a heart attack prevents brain tissues from receiving vital oxygen. When the brain is deprived of oxygen, it dies, and brain death is determined. Hospitals are required by law to contact their local organ recovery organization anytime someone passes away, so that donation may be considered as a possibility. There are 58 federally designated OPOs, which stands for Organ Procurement Organization, in the U.S. LifeLink of Georgia is the OPO that services our area. Per donor, up to 8 lives can be saved and 75 enhanced with the tissue donation. If you want to know what can be donated, your heart, lungs, the pancreas, liver, small intestines, corneas, skin, tendons, bones, veins, cartilage, and heart valves. Did I leave anything off, Danny, you can think of? That's right. It's important to note that tissue donation can come from an organ donor as well, but individuals who experience cardiac death may only donate tissue. Hundreds of thousands of people benefit from tissue transplantation annually. Bone can restore mobility and assist in limb reconstruction, and many of our men and women who have come back from service are benefiting from this. The corneas restore sight to people injured by disease or trauma. Heart valves are life-saving to children and adults, absent or damaged valves. Ligaments and tendons are used to reconstruct damaged joints after trauma, arthritis, or disease. Skin grafts, they help burn patients heal and can mean the difference in life and death. Many surgeries such as open heart and post-mastectomy breast reconstruction use skin grafts. The arteries are used in heart bypass surgery to reestablish good circulation. Donated veins can also help patients avoid leg amputation after loss of circulation. One of the things that there's a lot of myths that people have about organ donation, which is really one of my greatest concerns, but there's just a few little facts that I wanted to mention. And number one, there is no cost to the donor family whatsoever. The OPO comes in and does that testing. They can certainly take care of that, and they won't receive a bill for that. All major religions consider donation to be the greatest act of kindness and generosity shown between two human beings. Donation does not change physical appearance of the donor, making an open casket for a funeral being possible. Every 10 minutes, someone is added to the national waiting list. There's an average of 22 people who die each day waiting on a transplant. Due to organ donation education, stats dropped from 123,000 to 118 on the national waiting list. 5,600 of those residents reside in Georgia. I guess at this point, the main things, those are just some points that I wanted. There's so many myths out there, and I just wondered if anybody has a question that they would like to share, or a myth that they hear a lot, maybe even the hospital staff, that we might address. Is there something that you hear a lot, Amy?
We hear from the families is they think that the donors are going to be in pain. So they don't want them to do something.
I think people don't understand the difference between brain death, is a lot of that, and coma. So I think that that's caused a lot of confusion for people because there is no return from brain death. The brain is dead. They don't even start the organ donation process until that has been declared. Another thing that we hear is that people say, "Oh no, you don't. If you're in an accident, they won't resuscitate you or they won't do anything if they know you're a donor," which is ridiculous because if you're actually an organ donor, there has to be blood flowing through. You have to be alive. And then you're brought to the hospital and tested. So nobody at the accident site actually knows that. I will tell you in a selfish manner, had I not been a donor myself and had my children not been, because at that time it was such a desperate time for me that I would have done anything to spend more time with my child. And of course that prolonged my time at the hospital. I knew every test possible was being run to be sure that he was brain dead and he wasn't in a coma. So that gave me another satisfaction of knowing his health care. I will tell you the minute that the papers were signed, and it was already wonderful, but when that transplant team comes in, everything is on heightened alert. So if there's anything there that could possibly be missed, it'll be called. Anybody else got a myth they want to share? How about questions?
You mentioned that you're involved in Compassionate Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us more about that so people might not be aware of that?
The Compassionate Friends USA is an organization that is a grief support group. We don't do counseling, but it's a grief support group that is strictly for families who have lost a child. And we, of course, support parents, grandparents, and siblings. The thing that I like the most about that organization is that even the literature that we distribute, anything that has to do with Compassionate Friends, even the psychologists and all the doctors have to have lost a child. That criteria is so different from most other grief support groups because I use the term that it is a depth of hell that you cannot understand unless you live in it. And so no matter what happens, what the cause, it is such a different type of grief. You know, I had lost siblings, my parent, and then lost my husband, but none of it all just paled in comparison to losing my child. So we actually, the group that we have, we meet in Bainbridge, but we serve from Valdosta all the way to Dothan, Alabama. So we actually get a lot of calls. I didn't even know that Albany, Georgia had a veterans clinic until, you know, with this group, being the group leader. But I think it's a great organization. If you know of a family that can benefit from us, I'm sure you could get in touch with the staff here or contact me directly. And it's really helped me a lot. In fact, it was LifeLink that told a group in Atlanta about me in South Georgia, so they contacted me out of the Tallahassee group. Is how I really, you know, and it took a while. It takes a while to be able to go to those meetings, but they have a wonderful website that has great support for parents until they're ready to attend. And for me, personally, the reason I run in my crazy mode that I do everything I do is because helping other people is the only thing that helps my grief, the only thing. Besides that, when I think I'm not going to do it and I've had too much, I can hear Dylan's little voice going, "Mom, like, what do you think you're doing? You can't stop now." So, but it is a great organization. It was started in England, and we have once a year there is a worldwide candle lighting service that we do in December, and it's the largest candle lighting service in the world. And they say if you could see it, it's really sad to think about it, but they say if you could see it from the sky, that the whole world would light up. But it's a great organization. It's been great for me. Anything else?
Is there an age limit on donors?
No, ma'am, I found out this week that Gina Shoemake was sharing with me that her uncle was 94 and donated corneas this year. So, no, and what we do is we encourage everybody to sign up, and then at the time of your death, they will come in, the OPO comes in and they will do the testing. So, you know, you hear people say, oh, I don't have anything they'll want and they're this and that, but it's very uncommon not to have something that you could donate that could save a life or contribute at least, you know, to someone's health. So certainly we do encourage that, do it anyway. And you know, most people go to the driver's license, when they do the driver's license, sign up. But you can go online and sign, there's several different ways. And now we have an app on the phone that I like, that we can sign people up just by scanning their driver's license. So certainly I encourage you to, you know, to be educated, at least to make an educated decision, which is what is so important. No matter what you decide, it needs to be based on an educated decision. Any minutes? Okay. Thank y'all very much.